Caitlin. I'm a holistic nutrition consultant and the author of a blog called grassfedgirl.com. Thank you for joining me today. We have Claire. She is from Lolly_Carney on Instagram, and she's going to share her story all about how carnivore has helped her health. Welcome, Claire.
Thanks for having me. So I can present myself. I'm a 39 years old woman, mom, and I've been struggling with anorexia nervosa most of my life. And I've been, when I was a kid, I was already struggling. Then during the teenage time, it was even worse. And I had a lot of traumas during my life, and it made me become more and more in the disorder eating. Then I got married, and I was really undernourished already at this time, and it got worse and worse. And then I tried to conceive my son, and I was not able to get pregnant. And I got pregnant through a lot of fertility treatments. And then I got my son. And when I got my son, I was breastfeeding him, and the doctor told me that he was having a bad reaction to each time I was eating dairy. So I started removing the dairy from my diet. And for me, this looked like a very good idea to go even deeper in my eating disorder. And so I removed the dairy, and then I was reading a lot on the internet, and I became a vegan. Slowly by slowly, I became vegan, and it was the beginning of the end. My eating disorder was becoming worse and worse. I was feeling very, very depressed, very anxious all the time. And I kept breastfeeding my son, and it was possible because nature makes you able to give all your nutrients to your kid, and you just got depleted. And so I was feeling really, really bad. And then I stopped breastfeeding when he was 3 years old, and I kept doing my veganism stuff, and I got really sick. I ended being in a wheelchair. I ended being blind because I lost all my body fat, all my muscles, everything. And in 2017, I got a flu, and my body was not able to react. And so the flu became a pneumonia, and I died for 6 minutes with this pneumonia. When I went back to life, my medical team decided to add my diet some meat, but I was really struggling with anorexia nervosa, so I was already counting my calories and everything. And I reintroduced meat and dairy a little bit, but only the low-fat kind. And I was able to gain a little bit of weight, but not enough to be healthy. I was just surviving and not really living my life. And in 2021, I was looking for something to go out of the depressive behavior and out of this using food. And I heard about the ketogenic diet, but it was not for me because it was all about counting macros, and I just wanted to go out of the counting stuff. And reading about ketogenic diet, I found out about carnivore, which was almost the same, without the veg, without any carbs, and not counting anything. And I wanted to give it a try, and I gave it a try, but I was scared about the fat. So the 3 first months, I was only eating really lean meat, and I was feeling like crap all the time. And in July 2021, I said, okay, try it. You don't have anything to lose, just try it and go full carnivore. Don't count anything, go with the fat. You have nothing to lose. Your life is so shitty. You just want to be alive again. And I started eating a very, very high fat carnivore diet, and my life changed from one day to another. I gained a lot of pounds without struggling. And I'm able now to do everything I want in life, and just because of carnivore.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. Now, I mean, I just wish that people would hear about the dangers of veganism before they have to go through it themselves. I mean, and why did your medical team feel that you needed meat? You know, why was that the answer, you know?
You know, when you're already unnourished, you start being nourished again, you go through a refeeding syndrome, and the refeeding syndrome can kill you if you give too much food to your body. And to be able to avoid having so much refeeding syndrome, you have to have enough protein in your diet. And going with only vegan food, it was not possible to have enough protein in the diet. So it was mandatory to put me back on protein, animal protein. But yeah, I think as well, it was not done properly. And when the medical team decided to refeed me, it was all about having all kind of food. So it was protein, but as well oil, fat, and carbs. And being refed with all this stuff, I was feeling like crap. And what is just because you do a lot of bloating and a lot of water retention being fed with carbs. And so what it was happening in my mind is that I was eating food and I was feeling even worse than when I was not eating. So it was helping my eating disorder not to feel good about eating. And this was not an issue when I switched to carnivore. When I started eating the full carnivore diet, like very high fat carnivore diet, having a lot of protein, but as well a lot of fat, but zero carbs, did make the difference, because I didn't feel any pain doing it. I didn't have any bloating, and I didn't have any edema, and my body and my brain knew that it was the good food for me.
That's amazing. And what do you think your anorexia started in the first place?
Okay, I think when you have an eating disorder, you have like it's not on your gene, but yeah, you're more supposed to have to develop. It's like, yeah, it's in your body. And when I was a kid, I was a dancer, and I was always the fattiest one. Even if I was really, really skinny, I was always the fattiest. And you know, all these comments, it was always about, yeah, putting in my mind that I should be skinnier. But then I had like traumas in my life a lot, and I was losing the control of my own life. And being able to control something, like controlling the food intake, and yeah, it was reassuring me. I was thinking that I will be back to control my life, controlling my food. And I was really, really into the restrictive disorder. Most of the time, people, when they have a restrictive eating disorder, they have some times where they cannot handle the starvation and they just rush to food. And sometimes they purge or stuff like this. For me, it was always being able to control and to be really sure that I will never go out of this control. And so I was really restricting like hell to be able to control something. And I was really thinking that I was controlling my life, controlling my food. And when I died for 6 minutes, I realized that I was not controlling my life. I was not into control anymore, and I was almost dying, and I didn't want to die.
That's amazing. I mean, I just wish everyone could hear this in all the world, you know, that the veganism can wreck your health so much, and that you can. Now, do you have regrets about being, you know, breastfeeding when you're vegan? Did you see any negative impacts on your child?
The thing is that I'm almost sure I gave all the good nutrients to my boy because I was breastfeeding, but the time I breastfed, I lost a lot of weight. I lost my bone density. I lost my muscles because, yeah, the nature wanted my son to be healthy, and it didn't matter about me. So my son could grow properly. Yeah. And, you know, I got tons of milk. If you look at me, I don't have any breast. I'm really like a not big boobs girl, but I got a lot of milk supply, that much. And maybe because I was pregnant of 2 kids and I lost 1, but I was really having a huge supply. And so when I was breastfeeding, I was even giving breast milk to the hospital to nurse the preemies. So I got a lot of supplies, even being unnourished. And so my son was really, really healthy, but on my side, it was just terrible for me. And yes, I regret this, because then when my son started eating, he was not eating, of course, a meat-based diet. And when I switched to carnivore and he became meat-based, he's not carnivore, he's meat-based. He has his protein and his fat first, and then he has the carbs and the crappy food, because he's a boy and no eating disorder. So I don't want him to be food carnivore. There is no reason. But when he started being meat-based and really eating heavily meat, he grew up like crazy. It was just amazing. Yeah. So I already know that, okay, now I think he catched up with the height he should be. And I think, yeah, being meat-based, it helps a lot.
That's great. I mean, it's good you can, you know, not make the same mistakes with him.
Yeah.
So, so what do you eat in a day? Like what you said, high-fat carnivore, what does that mean to you?
Okay, when I started eating carnivore, my body was craving the fat, and I was up to 6 sticks of butter a day. You know, it was like crazy, crazy fat, just because I needed the fat. I haven't been eating fat for 30 years. So as soon as I started giving the fat, my body was just starving for it. And I was eating a lot of fat, and mostly ground meat, because it was easier to digest. And then it changed during the journey. And now I'm most of the time eating 2 meals a day, sometimes snacking on pure fat in between. I have been on the Lion Diet for the last 6 weeks. So I'm eating mostly ground beef, tallow, and bone marrow. But what I would say that the amount of fat in my day is still really high. I'm eating fatty ground meat, but you know, ground beef is not as fatty as ribeye. So I'm adding to this 150 grams of fat most of the day, sometimes more if I need more, sometimes less if I need less. I'm eating quite a lot of fat. It helped with my mood. I'm out of all anxiety and depressive medication, so this is really good. When I'm feeling anxious, I up my fat. When I'm feeling good and I work out, or I feel like I need protein, I'm eating more protein. So I don't try to track anything. I'm doing the Lion Diet experiment, but it won't last forever, because I'm starting missing bacon. So I will go back to bacon sometime. And my daily basis, even when I'm not on the Lion Diet, is ground beef. So easy, fast to cook, and I love the way to keep it simple and not to overthink it.
And more affordable.
Oh yes.
Is there any restrictions there in France about how much meat you can get?
No, we can get whatever.
Like, do they restrict?
No, they don't. Okay. They don't restrict in France, but they are advertising for the plant-based meat.
Yeah, it's available. But you know what happens with that, so you don't want to go there again.
Oh no, never.
So do you feel like you're cured of your anorexia, or you're just kind of in remission, or what is the word?
I will say that I'm 99% cured from it. I still have some issues like body dysmorphia. I'm okay with the weight I gain, and I'm still gaining some weight. When people are saying carnivore is a weight loss diet, no, it's a weight optimization diet, which is a big difference. And so I think I didn't reach the weight I have to reach. And I'm not really struggling with the weight gain. The number of the scale is not an issue anymore. But when I look at my body, I feel like I'm huge. So this is something I still have to work on, my self-image. But otherwise, I think I'm mostly healed. But I know as well, you know, last summer I was thinking about having a fruit with my son, and just the idea of having fruits and putting carbs into my diet, the first thing my brain was thinking is, okay, you're adding carbs to your diet, so remove the fat. So I say no carbs. Carbs are not possible because otherwise I will restrict the fat. And if I eat one fruit with, I don't know, 50 or 100 calories, and I remove 1,000 calories from the fat from my diet, this is not something that is good for me.
Well, I mean, your skin looks amazing and, you seem really healthy. So I think you're on the right track.
Yeah. For the first time of my life,
What is
I'm thinking I'm already on the good track.
I mean, there's this idea here, I know, and maybe it's there too, I'm sure, that if you restrict anything, then you are, doing a diet, and that you're, it's like this idea that if you try to control your food at all, that you should just basically eat anything and everything. And that any kind of diet is an eating disorder. And, as somebody who has come from an eating disorder, what do you think about that idea?
Okay, I got this this idea all the time. People are reaching out to me saying, "Oh, you went from one eating disorder to another one." What I answer to them is, when I was struggling with anorexia nervosa, I was thinking about food 24 hours per day. I was not able to sleep. I was always thinking about food because I was starving. Since I started the high-fat carnivore diet, I'm never hungry. Each time I'm hungry, I just go and I eat. I don't think about food 23 hours per day. I'm having food like an hour per day, like my 2 meals, and that's it. And if I'm a little bit hungry in between, I snack on some fat, and that's it. My life is not about food. I got the food freedom because I'm not thinking about food. And this is how you get out of an eating disorder, not thinking about eating.
Yeah, when I start eating a little bit of carbs or even cheese or fruit or anything, there is no limit. I never get full. I mean, and I'm constantly thinking about going to the store and just completely obsess about carbs and food and everything. I completely turn into like a different person. But when I'm eating just meat and eggs and stuff, I'm fine. I can focus on other things.
Exactly.
So I relate to that. So is the carnivore diet getting popular in France, or how's that going?
Not at all. The plant-based diet is much more popular. And so, yeah. And when you look at the kids, they are like eating mostly very standard American diet, a lot of crap. And we are struggling with the kid population to become more obese now. We have almost 30% of the kids that are obese at school.
And you think about we're told the idea that the French food is full of good butter, and then French women don't get fat and all that stuff. And like our idea over here is that everyone in France is having a couple bites of a croissant and then they're skinny and they're fine and they don't have any problems like we.
It was decades ago. It's not really what's happening right now. What's happening is the kids going to McDonald's and do KFC all the time, eating junk food all the time, a lot of donuts, a lot of cookies, and just getting fatter and fatter. And we will get the type 2 diabetes as in the US. It will be exactly the same because now the kids are the same way of eating. It was really funny in France when we got locked down because there was not the possibility to go to McDonald's anymore, and people were not able to cook at home. They didn't know how to cook because they are so used to just go out and grab some crappy food. So yeah, it's really crazy how it changed.
Oh, that's sad because we always think that French people are all chefs and everything. Maybe that's what it used to be like. Yeah. Well, this has been so interesting, and I mean, I wish we could talk forever about eating disorder and everything, because I think it would help so many people. But definitely, follow Lolly_Carney. Spell it out for people.
LOLLY.
Spell it and make sure they know where. And then underscore Carney, CARNI on Instagram. And she has an amazing story, and I hope that a lot of people see this. And I really appreciate it. It's really, really wonderful to meet you, Claire. Please leave your comments down below if you have experience with eating disorders or anorexia or anything that we talked about today. We really love to hear from you. And make sure and follow Claire over on Instagram. And please share and subscribe. Send this to anyone it would help, because we need to get the word out that veganism is not a healthy diet for the long term, and that meat heals. So thank you so much, Claire. It's wonderful to meet you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.